Okay, so I grew up playing the SmackDown vs. Raw video games like many others did, right? And one of my favorite things a part of those games was the Road to WrestleManias. SmackDown vs. Raw 2009, loved the Road to WrestleMania stories. 2010 also had great Road to WrestleMania stories, and 2011 had great Road to WrestleMania stories. WWE 12 also had the Road to WrestleMania, and I really would like to see them come back for WWE 2K. 2K hasn't had a Road to WrestleMania yet, and you know, after WWE, 2K20 was a disaster. 2K22 and 2K23, it really kind of built up the series again. They gave us some things that we wanted back in the game, like GM mode. Really enjoyed that. The showcase modes have been great. The online play has been dope. Like, one of two things that I really hope that we can get back would be able to, play online, GM mode with friends. GM mode online, I think, would be extremely elite, and Road to WrestleMania. And I kind of created my own thought of Road to WrestleMania ideas that I had, so I'm going to share them. So as you can see, these are all the people that I put in this photo, and we're going to start with Roman Reigns. Now, he's the biggest star in the company. I feel like it's only right to have him have a Road to WrestleMania because, when John Cena was the face of the company, he had a Road to WrestleMania every year. 2009 he had one, 2010 he had one, and 2011 he had one. He had a Road to WrestleMania in every SmackDown vs. Raw video game he had because he was the guy, right? Well, Roman Reigns, I feel like, his storyline would be obvious. It's the Bloodline storyline. I feel like it culminates with, the bloodline maybe imploding leading up to WrestleMania, and leading up to WrestleMania, he would face The Rock, the dream match that, may or may not happen at this point. But I feel like that would be the perfect story for the Road to WrestleMania, leading up, with the whole bloodline implosion and then him facing The Rock at WrestleMania. I think a lot of people would enjoy that. I think Cody's story would be pretty obvious too and fun to play. I mean, he's one, if not the most over babyface in WWE right now. And his story basically would be to chase the championship, to win the big one, to quote unquote finish the story that he's been saying. To achieve the ultimate goal. And, you could have roadblocks and, steps for him to get there and obstacles that he has to go through. And mind you, even if you don't see some of your favorite wrestlers in this Road to WrestleMania, it doesn't mean they can't be a part of other people's stories. Every year there was a key focus of somebody having a Road to WrestleMania, but there were still other people that other superstars that you may like that they made a part of those stories. So it could still be the same concept, with some of these stories. Some people that you may like that may not have their own individual Road to WrestleMania can still be a part of some of these other people's individual Road to WrestleManias to add on to their stories. And Cody could have a lot of people involved in his, to lead up to winning the big one. Okay, so let's talk about Logan Paul's. I call his social media takeover. So Logan Paul obviously is one of the biggest social media influencers in the world. Everybody knows that. He comes to WWE and he excels extremely well in WWE, shocking the world, honestly. Whether people like him or not, he's just truly a natural at this. So his story basically would be, he's a social media star. He comes to WWE and he just takes over. They can do stuff, I feel like maybe little segments where he's in Hollywood or somewhere in social media and he's doing stuff with maybe a championship that he won, or maybe some fights. Maybe they can set up some fights. Logan Paul calls out somebody to fight on the Hollywood Walk of Fame or something. I don't know. Something with that aspect. I feel like there could be some interesting concepts with Logan Paul having his own Road to WrestleMania, especially if you do a social media takeover. We all know Bianca Belair is one of the biggest women stars in the company right now, and I think a lot of people actually might like hers, the concept that I have, but hers would be a pick your own direction. Those games where you have to make a decision, and then when you make that decision, that's the route you take. Hers would be that whether you're going to go the route of being the babyface or the heel. Because a lot of people, I feel like, have mixed emotions and split emotions about Bianca. Some people really want her to turn heel, and some people like her the way she is. Well, this will be the story of, her road to WrestleMania. Which direction are you going to go in? Are you going to go the babyface route with Bianca, or are you going to turn her heel? So even though most of Charlotte's storylines have revolved around the championship, I don't want to involve a championship with her road to WrestleMania. I have a different concept that I think would fit with her character better. She calls herself the Queen, so this would be about the crown. This would be Queen of the Ring, Road to WrestleMania. You could set up a tournament or something with that aspect, battling for the crown type stuff. Even though we've seen Queen of the Ring before, but Charlotte has called herself the Queen for years now, and I think it would just fit well, not only with their character, but the concept of her road to WrestleMania, her wanting to officially get that crown to sit on the throne as the Queen. So I know y'all been looking at The Undertaker, okay, what's The Undertaker doing there? Because he's retired, he's not an active member of the roster. I've thought, it would be cool to go a different direction. My mind is always thinking different things, and you could add anybody of the active roster to have their own Road to WrestleMania. There's so many big stars you could have their own Road to WrestleManias, right? But I thought it'd be cool to have, a Legends concept of a Road to WrestleMania. So Undertaker would be that legend to have his own Road to WrestleMania. And his would be a basic story. It would be The Last Ride, like the documentary that he had, The Last Ride, like Undertaker's last journey leading up to his final match at WrestleMania. Having the final story and the final journey of The Undertaker and the road to WrestleMania, I think would be dope. You know, a lot of fans really feel like he didn't really get the right send off that they wanted him to get. I mean, his last match was during COVID in front of nobody, and his farewell too that same year was in front of nobody. So it's like, you know, Undertaker really didn't really get that proper send off that I think most fans wanted him to get. And even though this is a video game, it's not real life. It may be still fun to play, you know, his final, you know, farewell leading up to, you know, his final WrestleMania. I think it would be a cool concept. And it would be cool to kind of have a Legends Road to WrestleMania since, you know, you didn't really get that in the past. Those are just the ideas that I came up with thinking about it. I mean, there could be some other good ones that other people have. I mean, listen, like I said, you could pick anybody on the current roster to have their own Road to WrestleManias, but just because some people may not have their own individual Road to WrestleManias doesn't mean they can't be a part of other people's Road to WrestleManias that I picked. You know what I mean? Like, Seth Rollins could be a part of, you know, Cody's. He could be a part of Undertaker's, you know, last journey. Brock Lesnar could be a part of somebody's. You could have Becky Lynch be a part of somebody's. Like, there are a lot of people. Rhea Ripley could be a part of somebody's, you know. A lot of people on the roster that could be a part of other people's stories, like, you know, they had in previous Road to WrestleManias. But that's just the idea that I came up with. You know, I would really enjoy to see Road to WrestleMania come back to WWE 2K, whether or not, you know, the ideas that I have make the game or not. I just want to see the game mode come back because I really enjoyed playing them.